Joining me now is Congressman Robert Garcia of California, a member of the House Oversight and Homeland Security Committees. Congressman, as always, thank you very much for coming to the Saturday show. So tell me, what did you learn from your visit to El Salvador?
Well, a couple of things. I think the most important thing, and we're, of course, there because Donald Trump is defying a 9-0 unanimous Supreme Court decision to bring back Kilmer Garcia back to the United States and lower courts, of course. We went there to inquire, was the facilitation process, had that begun as ordered by the court? Could we see Kilmer Garcia? And what we learned directly from the embassy and the U.S. ambassador is that they have not been directed in any way to begin the facilitation or return of Abrego Garcia back to the U.S. And so even though there's a court order, the embassy on the ground is actually not doing any of that. They denied us a chance to see him. Only Republicans are now being allowed to have official codels to go to the prisons in El Salvador. They're denying Democrats from doing so. We went anyway. And of course, we're also inquiring about other people there that had no due process, like Andrea Romero and others that deserve a chance to be in front of a judge.
And I'm going to ask you about Andrea Hernandez Romero in a second. Let me read you something that President Trump said in his interview with Time Magazine about whether Abrego Garcia deserves his day in court. Listen to this. "That's not my determination. It's something that, frankly, bringing him back and retrying him wouldn't bother me, but I leave that up to my lawyer. You could bring him back and retry him, but I leave that decision to the lawyers. At this moment, they just don't want to do that. They say we're in total compliance with the Supreme Court." One, Congressman, that last line is a lie. But two, what the president says here, I think, is Exhibit A, and what you and your fellow Democrats have been arguing from moment one, which is this is a constitutional crisis. The president of the United States is the chief constitutional officer of this country, and he, right here in this quote, is saying there's nothing he can do.
I mean, completely shameful and dangerous. I mean, we're in a moment right now where the president is defying the judicial branch of government. We have a separation of powers in this country. You don't get to pick and choose what parts of the Constitution you actually want to follow. This is the president of the United States. And if the Supreme Court is ordering that someone gets returned back to our country, he has to follow those orders and that ruling. And why this case is so important is that we cannot allow Donald Trump to cross this line. A president has not defied the Supreme Court in this way, and we cannot allow it to happen at this moment, which is why every single American should be very concerned that due process is under attack, something that is, of course, we know vital to the Constitution and something that's given to everyone in this country, whether they're a citizen or a non-citizen. Everyone has a right to due process.
Let me get your view on the arrest of Judge Duggan there in Milwaukee yesterday. How does that fit in with your overall concerns?
Well, this is very concerning. You're arresting now judges. You are cutting deals with big law firms to not sue the federal government or the administration or to do pro bono work for Donald Trump. You are eliminating due process for people in this country, for now non-citizens and U.S. citizens, as we have learned. So the full-on attack of the judiciary system in this country has begun. It's a constitutional crisis. We should be taking it as serious as it is. And we need to be talking about this every single day and reminding people that Donald Trump is destroying everything we know about the separation of powers.
And let's talk about Andrea Hernandez Romero, makeup artist and Venezuelan asylum seeker who was deported to El Salvador. They accused him of gang affiliations based on his tattoos. Were you able to, have you heard anything about him at all?
This is where we got some steps forward, but there's still not enough information out there. Here's the reality. This is someone that had an appointment. The United States government gave Andre an appointment to seek asylum at the border. He came to his appointment that we provided him. Then during that appointment, he gets scooped up, essentially kidnapped by ICE and Homeland Security, sent to a country he knows nothing about, to a foreign prison that we know is already incredibly dangerous. He's someone that's described as delicate, as sweet, as kind. He is obviously LGBTQ. He was fleeing because he was gay from Venezuela. The ambassador told me directly that they are going to do a welfare check on Andrew and try to get information. It was the first time the government has actually agreed to do anything about his case. So we're working with his lawyer. We're working with the embassy. He needs to have his due process and be brought back to the United States.
Congressman, please keep me informed about what you hear from the embassy about Andrew's situation and whether someone tweeted out a picture of you making this announcement. Like, no one's heard from him.
That's right.
Since what, March 14th?
Yeah, it's been horrific. It's been weeks now. No one's heard anything. We don't even know if he's alive. We're hoping to God that he is, and we need him back home.
Congressman Robert Garcia of California, thank you very much.
Thank you
for coming to the Saturday Show.